What if one man's survival in Hollywood wasn't because of fame or power, but because of the people who loved him? Think about that for a moment. Imagine being one of the most iconic actors in the world, yet feeling completely alone. Imagine the cameras flashing, the red carpets, the applause, and suddenly, all of it disappears. You're no longer celebrated. Instead, you're judged, misunderstood, even mocked. And then, out of nowhere, millions of strangers who have never even met you decide to stand up for you. They refuse to let you fall. They refuse to let you disappear. That's what happened to Johnny Depp. And honestly, if you've ever felt like life turned against you, this story will hit your heart. Because this isn't just a Hollywood story. It's a story about loyalty. About hope. About human kindness. It's a reminder that love isn't just a feeling. Sometimes, love is a lifeline. So today, we're talking about how fans, yes, people like you, saved Johnny Depp. How they lifted him when the world tried to tear him down. And how he says, from his heart, that your love didn't just help him, it saved him. Stay with me, because there's a powerful moment in this story that proves just how much difference one voice, your voice, can make. There was a time when Johnny Depp was everywhere. He was magic on the screen. From the mysterious Edward Scissorhands to the wild charm of Captain Jack Sparrow, people didn't just watch his movies, they lived inside his worlds. He didn't play characters. He became them. He brought imagination to life. And then, suddenly, silence. Headlines changed. The spotlight turned cold. Rumors started spreading everywhere. The same world that once celebrated him started pointing fingers. Judging. Labeling. Laughing. Overnight, it felt like the world forgot who he really was. They forgot the years of art. The decades of dedication. They forgot the human being behind the fame. Have you ever felt that? When people only see the worst version of you? When rumors and assumptions feel louder than the truth? That's where he found himself. And he felt it deeply. He once said it was like watching his life fall apart piece by piece. Imagine working your entire life to build something, your name, your art, your legacy, and then one day watching people try to erase it. Anyone would break under that weight. But here's where this story changes. When many people in the industry stepped away, you did the opposite. You stepped forward. Fans from every corner of the world began speaking out. Not shouting hate, not spreading negativity, but spreading love. Messages poured in. Letters, art, videos, comments, tweets, signs held high outside courtrooms and theaters, words that said, "We believe in you. We stand with you. You're not alone." And those voices weren't just noise. They were hope. They were strength. They were life. This wasn't Hollywood saving him. This wasn't a PR team or a studio. This was real people. Everyday people. People who saw a human being in pain and said, "We're here." It didn't matter that they had never met him. It didn't matter that he was a superstar. What mattered was the truth. What mattered was fairness. What mattered was humanity. And yes, Johnny has said it many times, this support didn't just touch him. It changed him. It saved him. When he walked into court for the first time, he wasn't walking alone. He looked up and saw crowds of people outside. Handmade posters. Drawings. Messages written from the heart. People waiting for hours just to show they cared. Imagine thinking the world forgot you, and then seeing thousands of faces reminding you that you matter. That you're not invisible. That you're not broken. That you still have value. That moment wasn't about fame. It wasn't about winning anything. It was about being seen. Truly seen. People always talk about power in Hollywood. But here's the truth, real power comes from love. From loyalty. From people who choose kindness when it's easier to stay silent. And fans did that. They chose to believe in him. They chose love instead of judgment. And that changed everything. Since then, look at him now. He's rebuilding. He's creating again. He's acting, he's touring with his music, he's painting, he's smiling more. You can see it in his eyes, he rediscovered something. Not vanity. Not ego. But faith. Faith in people. Faith in kindness. Faith in second chances. And psychologists talk about this all the time. When someone is hurting, when someone is going through emotional pain, the mind looks for one thing more than anything else: validation. That simple feeling of being seen. Being understood. Feeling like your emotions are real and not just something you imagined. Sometimes, a person doesn't need a crowd cheering for them. Sometimes, all they need is one voice that gently says, "Hey, I see you. I believe you. You matter." Johnny heard that voice, not from Hollywood, not from the industry, but from fans who refused to let negativity rewrite the truth. They didn't wait for permission to care. They didn't wait for the world to tell them when it was safe to support him. They listened to their hearts. And millions of hearts spoke at the same time. People didn't stand by him because he was rich, or famous, or because it was trendy. They stood by him because they felt something real. They saw pain in his eyes. They saw a man holding himself together not through arrogance, but through quiet dignity. They saw humanity, raw, vulnerable, honest. And that's what people responded to. That's what fans protected. Not the celebrity, but the soul. You don't have to personally know someone to recognize when they're hurting. You don't have to sit across the table from them to feel empathy. True compassion doesn't need a contract. Kindness doesn't ask for approval. Real support comes from instinct, from your heart whispering, "This isn't right. This person deserves love. This person deserves fairness. This person deserves to be heard." And that's exactly what happened. Fans stepped forward when it mattered most. They didn't run away when things got loud or messy. They didn't stay silent to avoid judgment. They stood tall. They stood loud. They showed the world that loyalty and goodness still exist, even in a time when negativity often spreads faster than truth. And if you ever doubt the power of kindness, let this be your proof. Love matters. Support matters. One voice matters. A million voices? They can bring a soul back from darkness. They can restore faith in humanity. They can remind someone who felt abandoned that the world still has light in it. Johnny found that light again. Not in fame. Not in awards. But in people, in fans who cared enough to say, "You are not alone." So now, I want to ask you something, from your heart. What makes you admire Johnny Depp the most? Is it his incredible talent? His resilience? His gentle spirit? His ability to remain humble through storms? Or maybe the way he never let bitterness replace his kindness? Tell me. Share your thoughts below. Every voice matters here. Every story has a place. And who knows, your comment might be the one that encourages someone else today. And if this story touched you, don't go yet. Because there are more stories like this coming. More moments that show how pain doesn't end us, it teaches us. It shapes us. And love, real love, brings us back stronger. If this inspired you, hit like. Share it with someone who believes in second chances. Subscribe for more stories that remind us of our humanity. It means more than you can imagine, just like your love meant everything to him. Thank you for spending this time here. Thank you for choosing kindness in a world that sometimes forgets it. And always remember, love wins. It always does. See you in the next one.